What is your no bulls **T dating advice? Story 1. Proudly display your harmless idiosyncrasies and eccentric traits. You'll scare away some people, but you'll attract the people that are more similar to you. Story 2. If they like you, they won't make excuses. If they play games, read it as I like drama. If they don't seem interested, they are not interested. Don't waste time on someone who is hard to engage. Someone who genuinely likes you will not be hard to engage. If you have to hide parts of yourself / dampen your personality / act in a certain way for them, then they aren't the one for you. If they won't introduce you to their friends, then you're a fuck buddy and nothing more. They don't rate you highly enough to allow this meeting. Story 3. Check your values align. That is the important stuff. People early dating get too sidetracked by, he doesn't like Mexican food, I don't think he's a good match type detail. Do you have the same values about education, attitude to money, what success looks like? My husband and I fight about whose turn it is to put the bins out. But we are very aligned in our views about how we want to raise our children, how we manage family relationships, our definition of kindness and respect for examples. Look at the bigger picture for a compatible life partner. You can get Mexican food with your friends. It's not a deal breaker. Story 4. There is great advice here already, so I'll add this. Be careful of people who love bomb you. If you don't know what that is, it's people that shower you with compliments no one has ever told you. You make me feel like no one ever has. You are so incredibly smart I could listen to you all day. I love every single part of your body. No one has ever made me so horny. Your eyes are the most beautiful I've ever seen. I don't understand how I lived before meeting you, etc., etc., etc. I know you might be thinking, hey, maybe one of those is genuine. And yes, that's fair. But when it's like that constantly in the beginning to the point of absurdity, that's love bombing, and it's a common trait of people with personality disorders, not treated. Those people are, most times, dangerous, and they will fuck you up. Your brain will take all those compliments combined with sex as dopamine hits, and it will become a literal addiction. Don't ever let that happen. If you spot what you believe is love bombing, get the fuck out of there. Story 5. Just be fucking straightforward about what you want. I truly cannot stand people who play games. If you play hard to get, I'm going to assume you're uninterested. If you're mean, I'm going to assume you're an asshole. If you like me, act like you like me, tell me you like me, and vice versa. Story 6. Give people a chance even if they come across as prickly or combative on a first date. Some people just default to this as a defense mechanism. And if you don't become defensive and combative yourself and show you're not judging them, you can quickly scratch the surface and see a less guarded, truer version of them. I've had dates that I could tell were guarded and maybe searching for red flags, but I didn't take offense and tried to be open book and could tell it disarmed and thawed them a bit. Story 7. If the person tells you they have a learning disability, make them give you the diagnosis and go from there. Draw the line with ODE, oppositional defiance disorder, or CD, conduct disorder, because they are 90% always violent and narcissistic. Generally, if the person is honest and tells you it's ADHD or hell autism, that can be a blessing because they are usually the nicest out there. Story 8. If you haven't met them in person yet, don't do your first date at a restaurant or anything like that. Offer to meet up with them for a coffee or at a park as an initial vibe check. And if there's chemistry and you want to take it further, then offer to follow up with a formal first date. Sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Just because you can get someone doesn't mean it's worth it. Have fun if you want, but don't suffer any more than you're willing to, and know when things have run their course, and try to end things gracefully if possible. Story 9 might get some pushback for this, but I'll never again commit to a relationship before having been intimate with someone. I'm also not a fan of waiting for it for a long time. Had multiple relationships fail because we just didn't connect in the bedroom. There are very few things as frustrating to me as investing a lot of time in building a relationship with someone just to find out after a month or two that the sex is bad. Story 10. Do not try to hide the worst parts of yourself. Any person you date could potentially be your life partner. They're going to see every part of you at some point, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not suggesting running into your first date and unloading everything on them, but don't hide yourself either. Try to do something that requires some problem solving early into the relationship. I think it's one of the best ways to learn each other's communication styles and stress thresholds. You don't have to communicate in the same way and have the same thresholds, but they should be compatible. One of the first time I went to my partner's house, I helped him install a window unit. It was in a cramped space, and we ended up dropping a tiny screw into the air conditioner. Later on, we tackled moving his mom across the country together. We learned so much about each other through those big and small stressful experiences. Your families are going to play a bigger role in your relationships than you'd like. If you can't tolerate each other's families, it's going to be a big hurdle in the relationship. You never want to be in a position where you're asking them to choose between their family and you or vice versa. If you find early on that you're not meshing with the family or they're not meshing with yours, it's okay to walk away. If it's later into the relationship when you realize, I highly suggest reevaluating the relationship. If your partner is not willing to discuss concerns, walk. If they choose their family over you every time, you're never going to be happy. Story 11. Don't look them up on social media or attempt to stalk them with the justification of just looking out for them. They move on already, and even if they haven't, don't let the what if tell you to try. Nothing good ever come from looking back. Story 12. A good relationship is like a good business partnership. It's not that the two of you need each other in order to function. Partnering up should be a mutually beneficial arrangement for those involved that already work fine on their own. Story 13. Don't date for their potential. A lot of people, especially girls, date others based on the potential they see in them, particularly regarding change, improvement of behavior. But you're not dating their future. You're dating the current them. And if current them doesn't meet your standards nor align with your values, then why are you dating them? When you settle for potential, you're letting others know that you settle for anything. Story 14. Nobody is too busy. They're just too busy for you. If they are interested, they will make time. Values, lifestyle, and everyday compatibility are more important than common interests. Disagreements are part of every relationship. You're never going to agree 100%, and that's okay as long as you have the same overall values. Things you may find quirky and cute in the honeymoon stage can become annoying later down the road. Miscommunication is the root of 90% of all issues in a relationship. Love and physical attraction aren't enough for a successful long-term relationship. As you progress, the sparks will fade, and you'll need to make the effort to choose your partner every day. It's okay to find other people physically attractive, but the moment you start imagining being with other people, it's over. Story 15. If you don't want kids and meet someone with kids, think really hard about whether this is the right relationship. If you aren't Mary Poppins, raising someone else's kids is hard, harder than you can imagine. If you go for it, then think about your boundaries carefully and make them clear, even if that means quite a different kind of relationship than one or both of you originally imagined. Story 16. The quickest way to be lonely is with the if he cared, he should know how to. Well, if he was interested, he would. No one knows you, and you don't know them. Communicate what you want and how you like to communicate. Be clear, be upfront with your feelings, and don't make them chase figuring you out. Make the moves, and don't presume their thoughts or actions are lined up with your assumptions. The if she wanted me, she would text me good morning everyday statements start becoming these stupid tests and reasons to write off people that could be amazing partners if they understood what you wanted. And they don't leave wiggle room for people having complicated lives outside of you. And you in turn could see if these things like he should pay for the meal are really even necessary barriers that hold you back from meeting a guy with a similar parenting style or life goals. Story 17. Become the best version of yourself, and do that for yourself and no one else. Don't settle. You're doing yourself and the other person a disservice. Be okay with being single. That's why you need to do self-improvement first. It'll allow you to be happy on your own. If you can't be happy alone, you are not ready to be with someone. Happiness comes from drugs, not relationships. Story 18. Don't date someone thinking they'll change. Partners are not projects. Don't date people who need a roof over their heads/money. They will fall in love at the drop of a hat and move in with you in a heartbeat. If they say all their exes are crazy, move on. Date someone you can be best buddies with, preferably someone with your same interests. If they have kids, either accept them as a package or move on. Wanting or not wanting children is a deal breaker. In the long run, respect is as important as love. Story 19. There's two different types of red flags, small red flags and big red flags. Small ones are little ones people can ignore or some find cute. For example, stealing a piece of your food. If they're willing to steal food, what else are they going to do? But all you got to do is talk to them. A big red flag is ignoring your feelings. You ask them not to steal any more food, but instead, they ramp it up and steal more food from you. but the small red flag example is all up to the person. Story 20. Always trust your instincts. Whatever you do, don't listen to idiots like Andrew Tate, etc., or anyone else who's into the red, purple, blue pill BS. Also, don't be insecure. One of the most ridiculous things I've heard lately is people worried about body counts. That's insane to me. Mostly, just be confident, not arrogant and cocky. Listen to the person you are dating. This is especially important for men to hear. Engage in conversation with the person you are dating. Be genuinely interested in what they tell you. Ask questions. This means putting down your phone while they're talking to you. Also, humor is the most important factor from my experience. But above all, always be honest and have integrity. Never lie about anything. Story 21. Right now, the toilet lid makes me sick to my stomach. How will I clean the bathroom when I don't know if the shit will be gone? Leaves me with a big amount of anxiety. That is disrespect in my eyes. He knows I hate his. All over my bathroom, but he forgets it like I don't matter. My place just don't matter. My makeup brushes, my toothbrush, everything. With his shit and pee. I am very sad some people just don't learn why we have toilet lids. Be careful who you invite to your house. They will down the lid and make your place their territory. Story 22. Choosing people to date is a skill. Some of the smartest, most successful adults out there don't have it. I was one of them. If you are constantly dating the wrong people or getting into toxic relationships, look inwards and ask yourself why. In general, the best tip I have is swipe on the person who you think your friends would like. They probably have a much more objective opinion of who would be good for you. Story 23. Dating is like trying on shoes. If it doesn't fit, it will give you blisters. It's not your fault, and it's not the shoe's fault. Just not a fit. Don't take it personally. Figure out for yourself what is and is not negotiable. Then don't violate the non-negotiable unless you want to be miserable. Anyone who demands you cut contact with all your exes, if you are on good terms with them, will demand even more later. That person wants ownership, not relationship. You will find that they think they are entitled to kick anyone out of your life, even those with more seniority if it suits them. Story 24. Just look at their actions and don't create fantasies in your head. Take your time and don't hold on to something if it's not working. Also, you could have the best, most connected relationship for a year, and things could change. Don't hold on to the memories of what it used to be if the present is nothing like that and hasn't been like that for months. Take note of red flags. Observe how they handle conflict. You can love each other a lot, but compatibility seems to be the one thing that matters the most. So love doesn't in fact conquer all. Story 25. If you can't stop thinking about your crush at the point you feel tension and can't function properly anymore, you're not in love. You're obsessed. Your ability to see the person for who she is severely compromised, and you're going to act irrationally, possibly making a fool of yourself or entering in a potentially toxic relationship. You're supposed to feel well and comfortable when approaching a potential partner. Remember, your crush pees and poops as much as you do, stinks when she sweats and makes mistakes continuously as much as you do. She's human like you, severely flawed just as you are. Put her out of that damn pedestal. Story 26. Don't go into things with the intent to impress or to get a certain reaction beyond the very early stages, where that might be necessary just to stand out from the crowd. Your goal should be to get to a point of authentic, sincere communication without violating social norms or creating discomfort. No point to a relationship which essentially consists of fake plastic you connecting with fake plastic them. The sooner you can find out if real you matches well with real them, the better. And if you get gun-shy, remember, most people love authenticity as long as it doesn't stray too far into oversharing. Story 27. Talk to each other. Don't do the read between the lines or you should know bullshit with anything. Actually talk. Having problems? Talk it out. Have concerns about something? Talk about it. Feel like the relationship isn't going where you thought it would? Communicate. Story 28. If her interest of you seems intermittent, she's just using you. Doesn't matter how good her excuses are or how good she seems to treat you when she is with you. I got used for a year by a girl who only cared about me when she got angry with her toxic boyfriend. The excuses for canceling dates were always well thought. I'm sick. I have to take my mom to the hospital. I have to stay late for a work emergency. All those actually meant I'm canceling because my boyfriend called me last minute. Couple days later, she would message me being all lovable and nice and saying she was sorry for canceling and asking to meet that same day, which basically meant, I got angry with my boyfriend again and want to fuck with you. Words don't mean shit. Only actions tell you what people really think. This is not just applicable to dating, but for life in general. It's called revealed preference principle. As the wise economist Ludwig von Mises said, if you ask, everyone will tell you they prefer the Bible to alcohol, but I don't see 24H Bible shops. Story 29, it's okay to be single. I'm married, so this isn't some sort of weird stance on my part. Way too often, I see people asking for help in a relationship that's DOA. I'm not saying every argument is grounds for a breakup, but too many people set no boundaries on their relationship because they're afraid to be alone, which is even worse than being alone, ironically. Story 30. Tell them how you feel or be prepared to lose them. Seems obvious, but it's easy to fall into the trap of being afraid to say too much or think you're moving at a different pace or be hurt into holding back from other relationships. It doesn't mean you have to say everything all the time, but if you really love them, you better be sure they know it or they'll go. Story 31. In a committed relationship, just communicate. Talk about everything, childhood memories, hobbies, weird habits. Even if it's just about the weather, talk to each other. I've been with my boyfriend for a little over 5 years now, so if 14-year-old me, a literal child, figured that out and made it work for 5+ years, survived COVID isolation, and the hellscape of high school, I'm sure you can figure it out too. It's not as hard as you think it is. You should especially communicate about sensitive subjects or during or after an argument. No relationship is perfect. Every couple will have squabbles every now and then, but the best way to handle that is to say how you feel and what is on your mind. Don't let arguments go unresolved. That's how animosity builds between you. Story 32. If you're using a dating app, don't lie. The truth will come out eventually. In general, don't lie or try to make yourself seem better than you actually are. Just be yourself. You can be your best self, though. Make sure that you're conversing. That is to say that you actually listening to what they're saying, not just waiting for them to stop talking so that you can speak. Story 33. I've always had a thing for spotting nutters. Not right people when it comes to relationships. Never had a bad one. They've ended amicably. Even managed to warn friends, and the ones that haven't listened have gone on to have terrible experiences. I think you need to be honest with yourself and think about if you like the person you are dating/want to date. Or is it just horny/lust, etc.? Love is blind and all that. Story 34. Your brain is so flooded with neurotransmitters literally designed by hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to make you feel good and compel you towards companionship. My no-bullshit advice would be spend as long as possible imagining a life where you no longer feel instantly good seeing the person you are with, where you have to work through everything without the help of oxytocin. If you can hack it, it's real. If you can't, it's just chemicals, and it will fail. Story 35. A relationship has to have a foundation, be nurtured, have a place to go and grow together. If you don't put in the effort to grow together, you will grow apart. Whether that life together excludes children or includes travel as a substitute, a woman has to make up her mind early because the clock ticks. Women are built to become moms, and you'll have to accommodate and approximate to get there because it isn't the destination, it's the journey. You'll never have that with flakes, weasels, dopers, alcoholics, cheaters, or assholes because they all will think nothing of taking you down into a ditch with them. And legally speaking, if you marry someone, they cheat, and you take them back, you have condoned what they have done. So set a standard and stick with it. BTW, it's better to look around hospitals, golf country clubs, high-end dog parks, or hotels near airports and colleges and universities than biker bars near crack houses. Oh, you cannot buy intimacy with secrets either. Story 36. From my experience, don't feel afraid of judging someone. If you disliked a certain type of person, probably this new one won't be very different from the last one. But I think the most important is, don't seek for a date with someone in order to fill the void you have. If you feel alone or abandoned, don't just look for somebody to be at your side to heal yourself. Look for a partner only after you complete yourself, and after you can actually stay alone with yourself. Most people just look for a partner to fill their void inside and end up being a bad partner because they lack personality or they get attached to the other person.